Hey y'all, how's it going? We're out here today working on the truck. So I'm doing a four-wheel brake job on it. We're gonna do all new brakes, so all new rotors, all new pads. I've gotten these rotors turned once or twice, and I let these go a little bit too far and kind of got some metal into one of the rotors, so I'm not gonna try and get them turned again. Although you can turn that stuff out, I'm afraid that since I've already had them done once or twice, by the time they get deep enough to get the rotor clean, they're gonna tell me it's out of spec, and I would have had to buy new ones anyway. So I went ahead and bought new rotors, new pads. We're gonna do all four of them. Let me show you what we got. So these are the products we're gonna use. I'm using all CarQuest Professional stuff. I didn't get the dealership OE AC Delco rotors because they were incredibly expensive. These were not super cheap. These were about $100 a piece, but the AC Delco ones from the GM dealership are like 200 and 250 a piece or something like that, which is just stupid. And CarQuest Professional is a really high quality product. You won't have any issues out of that. So that's what I'm using for the rotors and for the pads. This front right brake rotor is the one that I have damaged. You can see it there, right there. You can see it right there. So the very edge of it up here got a little bit into the metal on the pad. It must have worn all of the pad down and got just a little bit on the edge there. So it's not a ton of damage, but I started hearing it scrub, and so decided to go ahead and replace everything. So I've already got the truck up off the ground, or at least these front tires. I got them up off the ground. We're on jack stands. So I'm going to get things set up here, and we'll show you how to get this done. All right, so first thing we're going to do is get this wheel taken off of here. And I'm going to use the impact for that. These lugs on this truck are 22 millimeter lugs. Alright, and you'll just have to bear with me. I am getting over being sick. My whole family has had the flu for the past week, so finally getting over it and feeling a little better today. So you just have to bear with me on that. We can get these taken off. So we're going to pull the caliper off. You never want to hang it from the brake hose, so I've got some hangers in here we'll grab, and we'll just hang the caliper from that. Usually I would just take the whole bracket off, but the last time I did this, it was kind of a pain to get these caliper pistons pushed back in there with the bracket on. So I'm going to go ahead and take the calipers off the bracket, then we'll take the bracket off, then we'll get the rotor off, and we'll go from there. So we got these bolts right here. There's one on top, one on bottom. That's going to get these calipers off. Before I pull this all the way off, I'm going to put a screwdriver down in here. Put it down in behind this caliper and pull on it just a little bit. And what that does is that compresses that caliper piston just enough to be able to get this off of there easily. All right, so that's got our caliper loose. Hang it up here off of this coil spring. That'll keep that hose supported. And now we can take this caliper bracket off. I'll go ahead and pull these pads off. You can see they are worn pretty much completely. All right, so this one here, I mean, you can see there's pretty much no life left on that. And obviously this one has gone completely away. At the very top, it was scrubbing right there on the rotor. So this side right here has a little bit left, as you can probably see, but up here it's pretty much completely gone. I am going to go into the truck and turn the wheel so that I can get to these bolts a little bit easier. And then we should be able to use the impact to get those out. All right, so those are going to be 19 millimeter. So we got the bracket off. So these clips, these little anti-rattle clips, will get replaced with the pads. Then we've got a T30 Torx for this right here. And actually, I'm probably going to hit that with the impact as well. Go. These Torx head screws can sometimes strip out pretty easily. So something like that I can easily get an impact on. A lot of times I like to. I'm going to go ahead and push this piston back in. So I'm going to show y'all how to do that. All right. So we're going to use one of these old pads. Set it in there. Grab one of these compression tools. And so it's got these little pads on it. And you can do this. You don't have to have one of these tools. This makes it a lot easier, but you don't have to have one. You can use a big C-clamp if you don't have this, or sometimes, depending on how stiff your calipers are, you can even use just a big set of channel locks. So this piece sits here, and then you screw this jack in there, and it'll push the piston back in there. And what that does is that creates room in here for your pads, for your new pads. You also want to watch this boot and make sure that it is compressing properly. You don't want to get this thing tied up behind there in the wrong way. You want to make sure that it's folding up nicely and getting back in there the way it's supposed to. All right, that's got that. Go ahead and hang this back up for just a second while we get our new rotor on there. And get this on there. All right. Let's hit it really lightly with this. Okay. So your pads will just slide in these little grooves right here, just like this. And there we go. And then get your bolt started. Don't forget your little clip. Don't leave that hanging there. And then always make sure your hose isn't twisted up. Make sure you get it back in the orientation that it's supposed to be in. These pistons, or these bolts, slide. And so you'll have to push those back as you're pushing your caliper down and get those in position. If you've never done this before, there are torque specs for all of these bolts. You can probably find them online. I don't use torque specs on these types of things. I mean, you can, probably should, but I don't. Good and tight. All right, that's one. So let's go to the other side and get the other one done. All right, so on the other side, I made a mistake. This is only the second time I've done the brakes on this truck, and I forgot one thing. This caliper bracket on this side is flat, and on this side, it's rounded. So if you notice, this pad is flat on the bottom, and this one is rounded. So you gotta make sure that you gotta make sure you have the right pads on each side. So I had two of these pads, and they're actually labeled here. I just didn't look at them. So this is labeled outer, and this one's labeled left hand inner. So just be aware of that. This is the first vehicle I've ever had, and actually the first vehicle that I've ever done brakes on that had a specific pad for the inboard and outboard pad. So just kind of be mindful of that. So this little seal right here goes on my fill port for my front differential. This seal right here, you can see, has a little bit of oil on it. So you can see back here, there's oil in the pan down here, and there's oil dripping out of that fill port right there. And when I took the plug out, I realized that there was actually not even a seal in there. So I'm not sure why. I don't know where it is. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if at some point they just, I don't know. I don't know if it was manufactured that way. It was something that was missed in the factory or what, but for some reason it's not there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it replaced while I've got all this out. All right, and it was incredibly difficult to get that thing off of there the first time. I had to use a breaker bar, so that's what I'm gonna do again. Get this thing situated where I want it. There we go. There we go. I don't know why that thing is so dang tight. Part of it might be because the seal isn't on there and it's just sealing metal on metal. But let's see here. All right, it's good and loose now. Go ahead and get up under there. I'm gonna lose some fluid. That's fine. I think it's actually a little bit overfilled, because when I found this problem, I filled it up with fluid. I think I overfilled it a little bit just so it would be able to leak a little bit and not lose too much. So get this new seal on there and get that thing plugged back up. Get that thing going. good and tight. Now, spread out a little cleaner on there. All right, now we can get this tire back on here and then get the back done. Now, normally I would use a torque stick to put these on, which is it's an impact socket that has a thin center to it, and it's rated for a specific amount of torque, and so you can just hit it on your impact gun and go to town with it, and it won't go over a certain amount of torque. Unfortunately, I don't have a 22 millimeter torque stick. I probably should just go ahead and buy one. So I just run them with that. Since I don't have the torque stick, what I should do is hit them with a torque wrench, but I really don't feel like doing that. So if I ever have to take these off on the side of the road, I'll probably be angry at myself, but oh well. All right, I'm gonna go get the other wheel put back on, get this off of the jack stands, get the back side jacked up, and I'll see you guys then. Okay, y'all, so I've got these rear wheels off. We're gonna go ahead and see if we can get these brakes off. I'm looking at this pad right here, and it doesn't even look like these really needed to be done, honestly. But since I was doing the other ones, since I was doing the front, I decided I wanted to go ahead and just get fresh stuff all the way around. So I don't think I've ever done these rear brakes, so it's not a bad idea to go ahead and get them done anyway. All right, gonna be stubborn. Let's see what we can do here. There we go. So that's spinning this. All right, so one thing I want to show you that we didn't see on the front side is this nut right here. Because this is a slide pin, you have this nut on the back side that can still spin. So we're gonna have to get a wrench and hold that. 20. All right. So we get that. So I'm gonna break that one loose, and then I'm gonna get the bottom loose, and then we'll take them all the way out. Have that one spinning too. All right. Yeah, see, these pads are actually perfectly fine. But since I have all new stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and replace them. So the biggest downside to working on rear brakes is you can't turn the wheel. You know, on the front you can turn the wheel and get to everything. These rear brakes, you can't do that. But you do have a little bit more room to kind of position yourself in here to hold stuff where you need to and yank on it. So these rears are just a single piston, so much faster and easier to get those done. Slide that off of there. Okay. So this is our emergency brake system. So it's basically just a mini drum brake system. It's cable operated. There's a little cable back here that attaches to the parking brake pedal, and so when you pull on that cable, these pads push out and push against that drum. So I'm just going to hit this with a little bit of air and just kind of blow all that dust out. So anytime you have anything taken apart, you always want to take just a second, clean what you can. Keeping stuff clean will help keep it quiet and will also help keep it in better shape. So I always try to clean whatever I can when I'm working on stuff. Let's get a new brake disc here. Okay. Same thing, probably doesn't need it, but I'm going to clean it anyway. Clean the disc, and I'm going to clean this drum. I'm telling you, so this is the first time, like I said, that I've used these CarQuest Professional coated rotors. I gotta say, I really like them. There we go. Get our pad bracket. Get our hardware, our little anti-rattle clips replaced. These pads look like they are exactly the same. Just gonna make sure, nope, they're not quite. All right, so the left hand inner is gonna go here. Then outer pad, make sure that all this says is outer. Outer, yeah, those are the same part number and everything. So the outer side doesn't matter, the inner ones do. So make sure you put the right ones in the right spot. Caliper. So what we don't want to do is twist this around. Like I said, make sure this caliper hose sits exactly how it should. And we're just going to push these little tabs back. Get the bolt started. All right. We got that side done. Let's hit up the other side. All right, let's get this side done. First things first, break these loose. Now, if these brake shoes ever need adjusting, so if you ever notice that your emergency brake isn't holding the way that it should, these can be adjusted out so that when you push your pedal down, they contact more. And you do that by spinning this little gear right here. So if you just rotate that, it'll push these out a little bit as their normal set location, so that when you push on the cable, it can push them even farther out. All right, so we got the brakes done. Just got to put tires on and go test drive it and bed these brakes in. All right, y'all. So we're gonna go set these brakes, or bed them in. And when you get done with a brake job, the first thing you need to do before you do anything else, before you even consider putting the key in and starting the vehicle, is you need to make sure that you pump the brake pedal several times. Pump it up until the pedal starts to get hard. Now, the reason that you want to do that is, if you remember, we pushed those pistons back into the calipers, and when we did that, we created space in between the rotor and the pad. Now, that space has to get filled up with brake fluid, or that space inside the caliper has to get filled up, so you have to push that piston back out until the pad meets the rotor. If you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to get in here, you're going to start the car, you're going to put it in reverse or drive or whichever direction you're trying to go. You're going to start going, and you're going to need to stop, and you're going to hit the pedal, and it's not going to do anything because those pads are not contacting that rotor. So make sure that the very first thing you do when you get in the car is pump the brake pedal. So I'm going to go ahead and do that before I even start the car up or start the truck. So see, it went all the way down to the floor once, and then it went probably halfway again, and now it's hard. All right. So when we do this, break these pads in, or set them, what we want to do is called the 30-30-30 method. And the 30-30-30 method stands for 30 stops from 30 miles an hour with a 30-second cool down in between. Now, it's a little difficult to do on a public road, so we may not get exactly right, but that's kind of what you want to aim for, and that'll just get you a good burnishing. It'll embed those pads into the new rotors well, and break everything in really well. All right, so we're at 30 miles an hour, so we're going to stop, and we're not slamming on the brakes, and we're not, you want a good solid stop, gradual. You're not barely pushing the pedal, but you're not slamming on it either. You're getting a good little brake there. Go, stop, make sure nobody's behind us. Good. Reset. So I'm just going to kind of keep count here with my fingers because I will forget. So we're coming up to a stop sign here. We're not going to get a full 30-second break here. We're going to get close though. So that's 3. And then I'm going to stay on these little back roads here, so that hopefully we don't run into traffic while we're doing this. So I've got some cars behind me now, and I'm not going to be able to finish this burnishing, at least not right now. But you kind of get the idea of it. And I've gotten 15. That's plenty to really, get a decent bedding. So what I'm going to do from now on to kind of finish up is, instead of stopping completely, I'm just going to give it kind of a hard braking a couple different times for a shorter period of time, so I'm still getting those revolutions in, still getting a little bit of heat, but I'm not getting exactly what it should be. So hit the brakes a little hard and then let off, and that way these people behind me aren't going to catch up. So I've gotten 20. I'm gonna call that good. I didn't get 20 exactly at 30 miles an hour with a 30-second break, but I got pretty close. We're gonna stop there. I'm gonna finish driving. I'm headed to the store, so it's gonna get some more work anyway. I'm not gonna worry about getting those last 10 stops. So the brakes feel really good. They feel solid. They're really smooth. I do like these brakes so far. I'm going to take a look at them when we get out of the truck and see what they look like. See how that coating has worn and stuff like that. The first few stops that I made, you could really hear and feel kind of the grinding sound of that that coating wearing off under the pads. So it's designed to kind of wear off where the pads are, but keep everything else nice and coated to prevent rust. So I'll be interested to see exactly how that looks once we get to the store. So we'll take a look at that when we get there. But I'll see you guys in just a little bit. Hey y'all, so I forgot to ever show you these rotors after driving on them. It's been probably a month since I actually recorded this video, but I wanted to go ahead and come out here and show you what they look like now after a little bit of use. So they're holding up really well. The coating on them is maintaining really well. I like the way that the rotors are actually wearing, but I really like how that coating is holding up, and there's, as you can see, no rust on that rotor. But I just wanted to show you guys that real quick, since I told you that I would show you the rotors, and I completely forgot, so I just wanted to add that in there. But if you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you can get notified when we post new videos. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one.